Paperless Pipeline is the software that we use to track all of our transactions. So when you come in to Paperless Pipeline, it's probably going to land you here. You're either going to go to transactions or you're going to add a transaction. You might add one. You might import a transaction. Don't even know what that is. It'll probably never happen to you. So you add a transaction, test transaction. You have an MLS number. You pick the status of it. You label it if appropriate. You add the listing date. You pretty much answer all the questions, let's face it. It'll ask you buyer and seller information. You'll select who's involved in which side of the equation. If we're listing agents, we're here. You're always going to put both of me. Don't ask why there's two, just go with it. Pick Kelly, pick transaction, and pick yourself. Transaction services and transaction coordinator. And if there are outside agents involved, like you're making an offer to an outside agent, their information goes there. When one of our listings has an offer accepted, the outside agent's information will go there. The whole purpose of this software is to contain everything about the transaction and to show us when the various dates are. On that last screen you saw, there were dates. Always keep this updated. Keep this up to track. Now we'll go into a transaction. We'll just use one that's being developed now. We've added the checklist. We can upload docs. We have the ability to upload documents from your drive. So when you get things scanned, signed, boom, they go in here. You can assign documents. Let's take this document. It has nothing to do with the transaction, by the way. But we're going to assign it over to the Moyallen document. So hit assign, hit here, 3032 Moyallen. If it doesn't come up, you can search for it. You can sometimes add transactions. I'm not sure why that's grayed out, but you hit assign. You tell it what section it goes to. And this is the part I always forget. You have to hit assign documents. Boom. So now, momentarily later, within the transaction, under Office Docs, there they are. Yay, they were hiding. And as long as it's as long as it's named properly, as long as the file name shows me what it is, it's 32 Moyallen listing agreement. It's whatever. If it's not named right, you go here. You got a bunch of choices. You can rotate. You can do all sorts of stuff. I'll get to break apart in a second, but you can edit doc, test listing agreement. Boom. Then you hit save. Break apart is fun. So let's say you took everything you had the client sign and you got like a 45-page document of all the different stuff. You don't really want to store it that way here. It's not illegal, but it's inconvenient. If I need to find the consumer notice for X document, I don't want to have to break something apart. So you go into break apart. And you have to know your document. And you'll say, okay, page 1 to 1 becomes test 1. Page 2 to 2, because this is such a complicated document, becomes listing 2. Save this as a new template, delete. Don't delete the original document. Never delete the original document. We don't care how much storage it takes. And then break apart. Boom, 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 boom. When it's done, we'll have something fun. Okay, so boom, there it is. Now we can take these and we can move them around if we need to. We can place them somewhere else. We can unassign them. We can edit them. We can do all sorts of fun things. We can move them to different areas, whatever. The point is now we've taken one huge document and made it into different ones, and we've named them appropriately. So then when I'm looking in here, I can say, oh, consumer notice, boom, boom. And when you do that, you check things off on the checklist. So I see you think you put in the right documents. Makes my job easier in checking them. And God forbid we ever end up in court or we ever end up with a state auditor. It makes it easy for them. Every 2 years, the state comes in. I got to open this up and I got to say, hey, let's look at a few files. Let's look at a pending. Let's look at a listing. Let's look at a closed. And they'll say, oh, I see. All the documents are there. Don't know how deep they go. I have not been audited yet, but that's the whole point here. Anyway, that's kind of what this is about. This is what Paperless Pipeline does. The other important thing that Paperless Pipeline does, besides received emails, no, glad that brought it up. This email address up here is the email address that whatever you send to that email address, yes, it's complicated. Yes, it's a stupid name. Too bad, deal with it. Goes directly in this transaction. So when you open a transaction, if you make a note to yourself, hey, that's my email address for this transaction, you don't have to go and assign documents. You email something there, it shows up here. That's really what I'd like you to do. I realize it's a pain in the butt, but it is what it is. The point is, all the documents we have for a transaction end up in here. When a transaction changes, it changes its status. It changes its label. It changes its listing date. It gets an acceptance date. It gets a close date. You want to put all of that in here so that you can keep track of it and the system can automatically remind everyone. Every morning, the system sends out reminders on your transactions. It says, oops, you have this deadline coming up. Don't rely on it. Don't trust it. You've got to keep your own dates. But it's a good way to start being organized. All right. Hopefully that helps. Thanks.